Hello students, today I am going to teach you the chapter A Question of Trust. Subscribe to my channel to get more such useful class videos. Let's begin. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good, honest citizen. He was about 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health, who was very conscious about his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy except for attacks of hay fever in summer. When someone gets an attack of hay fever, he has symptoms of continuous sneezing, reddening of eyes, water coming out from the nose, this kind of symptoms. He made locks and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. Yes, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books, so he robbed a safe every year. Each year, he planned carefully just what he would do. Stole enough to last for 12 months. So, every year, he robbed a safe. Every year, he robbed a safe so that it could last for 12 months. And secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. So, what did he do with the money he robbed? He bought rare and expensive books, from an agent. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. In the month of July, he was also planning a robbery, and he was sure that this was also going to be a huge success for him. He will not be caught. He will not get caught. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Shotover Grange, looking at its rooms, its electric wiring, its path, and its garden. This afternoon, the two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London had gone to the movies. The two servants had gone to the movies, and where has the family gone? The family has gone to London. Horace saw them go, and he felt happy in spite of a little tickle of hay fever in his nose. The only problem was that he was starting to develop symptoms of hay fever that very morning. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. Tools means auger that will be required to break a safe or something, to do the burglary act. There were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the Grange safe. He had collected information that there were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the Grange safe, in the vault. If he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000 pounds, enough to make him happy for another year. There were 3 very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. Now he would get the money he wanted to buy them. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside, on a hook outside the kitchen door. He put on a pair of gloves so that he doesn't leave any fingerprint, and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, means it moved, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. "All right, Sherry," Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love. The That means he had done all kinds of homework about the house. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Behind the painting there was the vault, the safe. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books. But they took up too much room. That means collecting or stealing he was impressed by the collection of pictures hanging on the walls of the house. Also, he for a bit thought about whether he should collect pictures instead of books. But they took too much room, means they took too much space. In a small house, books were better. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. Okay, he was developing symptoms of hay fever. He gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He carefully arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. The safe was not going to be hard to open. After all, he had lived with locks and safes all his life. He had the proper knowledge of how to break a safe. The burglar alarm was poorly built. He went into the hall to cut its wire. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of the flowers came to him again. How foolish people are when they own valuable things, Horace thought. A magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. So all the important details of this particular house had been published in a magazine article from where Horace had collected all the informations. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. He buried his face in his handkerchief. Then he heard a voice say from the doorway, "What is it? A cold or a hay fever?" Okay. So somebody asked him from the doorway, what are these symptoms of? A cold, a common cold, or hay fever? Before he could think, Horace said hay fever and found himself sneezing again. The voice went on. You can cure it with a special treatment, if you find out just what plants give you the disease. So if you can find out that what plants actually give you this kind of allergy, you can get the treatment. I think you'd better see a doctor if you are serious about your work. I heard you from the top of the house just now. It was a quite kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway and Sherry was rubbing against her. She was young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. "Down, Sherry," she said. "Anyone would think I had been away for a month." She smiled at Horace and went on. "However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar." Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. She seemed to be happy at meeting him. At first, Horace thought that all was over. Okay, the owner of the house has arrived and surely she was going to call the police. Okay, he had made a mistake. She had not gone anywhere. She was in the house. So it was a wrong information that they had gone to London. And he thought that she is going to call the police, but due to some reason she was behaving very politely, and Horace saw a little bit of hope because she seemed to be happy at meeting a burglar. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. If he behaved politely with her as well, maybe she can show forgiveness and not call the police. He replied, "I didn't expect to meet one of the family. I didn't expect to meet one of the family members. I had thought that everyone was away and the house is empty." She nodded. "I see what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do? What were you actually trying to do? Entering the house stealthily. Horace said, my first thought was to run. Okay, when I saw you, I first thought to run away. Of course, you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them all about you. They would get you at once. Okay, there is no respite in escaping because I have seen your face. I am going to call the police. I am going to give all the descriptions and they are surely going to catch you. Horace said, I would of course cut the telephone wires first, and then he hesitated, a smile on his face. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. Okay. So Horace said that if you try to call the police, then I am going to cut the telephone wires and that will enable me to escape. And obviously for a few hours it will be enough for me to get out of town. She looked at him seriously. You would hurt me. That means you are saying that after cutting the telephone wires, okay, you'd make sure that I don't call the police. That means you are going to hurt me. Horace paused and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. No, I didn't intend to do that. I was just saying that to frighten you, to scare you. You didn't frighten me, but I am not frightened. Horace suggested, it would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go. Okay, I'm not going to steal anything. I'm just going to go. Please forget that you saw a burglar in the house. The voice was suddenly sharp. Why should I? You were going to rob me. If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you. If I spare you today, obviously you are going to rob somebody else's house tomorrow. Okay, the society must be protected from thieves, from robbers like you, from safe breakers like you. Horace smiled. I am not a man who threatens society. I steal only from those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason, and I hate the thought of prison. I don't like to go to prison. And what is the very good reason he means? He means that he steals for buying good books, not for luxury. She laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I am desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this kind of thing again. I really mean it. I am not going to rob anyone else's house in future. I promise that. I mean it. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, You are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? She came over to him, shaking her head. I have always liked the wrong kind of people. She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. You will let me go? He held the lighter towards her. Yes, but only if you will do something for me. If you want me to let you go, then I want you to do a job for me. Anything you say. I shall do anything that you say. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank. Okay, I promised my husband that I am going to deposit the jewels to our bank. But I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them. But Horace smiled. You have forgotten the numbers to open the safe. That means you have forgotten the code, okay, to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me and you will have them within an hour. But I will have to break your safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month and I will have the safe mended by that time. Okay, I will have the safe repaired by a technician by that time. For now, I need those jewels because I have to wear them for a party. So please break the safe and give the jewels to me. And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels and gone happily away. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another safe. He was sure that if he actually wanted to buy those books, then he had to get the money, and for getting the money he had to break another safe. He can't keep his promise. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. He got arrested for doing jewel robbery at the Shotover Grange. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense because she was not in the house. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as he was and who tricked him. That means the lady had come to the house to break a safe. Okay, she was actually another safe breaker who had entered the house with the same motive as that of Horace. But he did the job not by herself. He did the job pretending to be the owner of the house and made Horace to do the job for her. Then she left everything for the police. The police came, found the fingerprints of Horace all over the place, and he got arrested. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. The story ends here. So Horace in the end regrets the way that a man should not trust anyone, particularly from his own profession. So thieves should not trust thieves because there is no honor among thieves. I hope that you have liked this particular chapter. Subscribe to my channel to get such important class videos. Thank you.